welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. We are broadcasting live from Rodizio Grill in Henderson. Really a beautiful place, too. Really great food. They're serving free appetizers for Vegas Take listeners, and we appreciate everyone who's shown up. If you didn't show up, you missed out because we're having a good time. It's a lot of fun.
I just had the best glazed ham of my entire life.
Oh, the
JD
appetizers
and Brian,
are awesome.
can you ever go wrong with ham on top of bacon
No.
I mean, it's top notch.
No, you can't. You can't.
No.
And that would explain why neither of three of us are on the front of Fitness magazine. That would explain that. But
JD could give him
Yes.
like a week and a half, and he hit the gym.
That's right.
Hard.
Yes.
With Willie Pops Ramirez, and he'd be right there.
So we're going to be joined by Ron Futrell from Channel 8.
I would need Willie's help, that's true.
We're going to be joined by Ron Futrell from Channel 8 here in just a few minutes, but it is Thursday, and since it is Thursday, that means that it is that special time of the week where we're always joined, and we love having Mike Babcock from TMZ Sports joining us. Mike, I appreciate you coming on, my man. How are you?
What's up, fellas? How are you?
Hey,
Doing
Mikey.
good. Okay, Mike, I want to start off with this story because it's gotten a lot of leeway and a lot of headway, and apparently Justin Bieber and Tom Cruise are one step closer to possibly getting into the octagon. Can you give us an update on that?
Yeah, insane. Obviously, started with Justin Bieber sending the text seemingly out of nowhere, challenging Tom Cruise. So we all thought it was a joke, and Justin Bieber even said it was a joke on camera. But here's what's been happening behind the scenes. So Ari Emanuel, who runs William Morris Endeavor, which is the biggest talent agency in Los Angeles, and they also happen to now own the UFC. He had a phone call last week with Scooter Braun, who is Justin Bieber's manager, and on that phone call, they then conferenced in Dana White, and the three of these guys had a conversation that essentially went like this. Justin Bieber is down to actually make this thing happen, and with all the Hollywood connections that these three guys have, there is a belief that Tom Cruise wouldn't necessarily say no to this fight happening. Now, I FaceTimed with Dana White the other day, and as you would expect, I mean, it would be the stupidest move not to, but Dana said that he is 100% down to make this fight happen, said it would obviously be the easiest fight in his entire career to promote. So I know it sounds ridiculous, and I'm not saying it's going to happen, but there certainly is a good chance that it does.
Babcock, here's my problem with this fight. I want to see both of them get knocked out unconscious. How's that possible if they both fight each other, though?
Hey, Rocky and Apollo Creed. That's what we get. We get a double knockout.
You know, Mike, I worry because Tom Cruise is 56 years old, right?
56
He's up there.
years old, and Justin, I want to say Justin's 25 years old. Here's the thing.
Tom would be the
Some
oldest
people-
UFC performer ever, right?
He would be, right? I think Randy Couture had some success in his 50s, and Chuck Liddell, we saw him fight not too long ago in his early 50s and looked terrible. But Tom Cruise, look, he stays in shape. He's physically fit. He still does all his own stunts on these movies. And sure, it might have been nearly 40 years ago, but the guy was a college wrestler. And if you talk to any fighter, they will tell you that the best base to start a career as a mixed martial artist is as a wrestler. So he has some wrestling experience. I assume he hasn't forgotten some of those moves. Justin also has some fighting experience. He boxed a little bit with Floyd Mayweather. So they have some fighting experience. So,
well, I'll say this.
Yeah,
that's
all I got for you.
Yeah, if Tom Cruise's fighting ability is as good as his acting, he's got no chance to win. So I guess we'll leave it at that.
Come on.
But,
Tom's a good actor.
No, he's not. He sucks.
You know,
Anyway,
You clearly have not seen all the right moves.
I'm sorry, but I don't see Tom Cruise as a phenomenal actor.
Yeah, Mike, are they similar weights?
Yeah, they are similar weights. They're similar height. Tom Cruise like 5'7", but he's a little stockier. Justin Bieber like 5'9", a little thinner. So yeah, I say they're in the 155-ish pounds range. So I think we could make the weight work. It's not to a point where it's so lopsided that it would be unfair one way or the other.
If you're just joining us, Mike Babcock from TMZ Sports. Okay, so we were just talking a little bit about the Toronto Raptors, whether they will or they will not go to the White House. JD made a very good point that, Kawhi Leonard is a big Donald Trump fan. For that reason and that reason alone, I do think a partial part of this team will be going to the White House. What's the latest on this, Mike? What can you tell us?
Well, they are going to visit the Prime Minister of Canada. Now, there has not, we talked to Nick Nurse, there's not been a invitation made yet from the White House. But Donald Trump was asked today if they wanted to come, would they come? And he said, if they want to come, then I'll think about it. So we know how Donald Trump is. He's not going to put himself out there and allow himself to be rejected after I don't know how many of the last NBA teams. We know what the Warriors have done. None of these NBA teams have gone to the White House. So I don't think he's going to put himself out there and invite these guys until maybe to a man they say, we want to come visit the White House. So it's up in the air. But, being from Toronto, they will go see the Prime Minister of Canada.
Do you think that he will, if they do go to the White House, does he serve McDonald's, Taco Bell, or KFC, or all three?
I'd say all three, and that sounds like a hell of a meal to me. But I think he'll keep with the tradition. I think that's what he's been doing, and he likes to get all the fast food companies. He's not partial to just one. So I think we have a nice mix.
Yep. So, Mike, you guys have done such a phenomenal job covering the Ortiz situation, the shooting, and everything that Big Papi has had to go through. What's the latest you can give us on that? I mean, last I heard, he was listed now in good condition, and it appears as though, or not it appears, I mean, investigators are saying that he wasn't even the right guy that was supposed to be shot. I mean, this is right. Wild, isn't it?
So he's doing okay, obviously still in the hospital in Boston. He'll be there for a little bit. But, right, that's what's insane about this. It's a kind of a twist that nobody saw coming. Everybody thought that Big Papi, being the famous person here, was the intended target. But, yeah, cops say he was not the target. It was one of his friends. It was a guy who was sitting next to Papi. And, look, unless someone's lying here, I don't know why they would, spin this tale if it weren't the case. Yeah. But Papi was just unlucky from what the cops said. He was not the intended target. It seems strange.
I just don't buy it. It happened a week. I mean, he said that he was the target. Then he changed his story a week later. We've all seen what happens down there. A lot of crazy things happen. It's very, very corrupt.
Right.
And my thought, and with what's going on right now in the DR, with all these people just dying in these hotels randomly.
Strange.
I mean, it looks really bad when, I mean, if a hometown, if a country hero is at risk in your country, then where does that leave American tourists? I think it's just kind of to stop the bleeding at this point.
Right.
I think it doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I mean, is Big Papi just now all of a sudden the unluckiest person on the face of the earth?
No, exactly. Come on.
Right. It doesn't seem to make sense. And I think that's a great point about the tourism. Just speculating here, but they need American tourism.
Yes, of course they do.
Fuels that country. And
no doubt.
Well, if David Ortiz can't go to the DR as a tourist, then why should anybody else? I mean, why would anybody else be safe? And I think that's what's going through Americans' minds right now.
No, I agree.
Absolutely.
Mr. Babcock, you guys have stay on top of it. You always do, and you guys have done a great job covering that story and certainly all the top stories on the latest. Mr. Babcock, thank you as always for joining us as you do every Thursday. We look forward to catching up with you again next week.
Cool. Thanks, guys. We'll talk then.
All right, there you go.
See you, Mikey.
That guy, I think Mike Babcock works like 20-hour days. I'm telling you, those guys work long hours over there at TMZ, but they do a really good job. Here's another guy that works long hours.
His job is awesome.
He's another guy that works, I don't know, you work at least 45 minutes a day. That would be Ron Futrell from Channel 8.
I wouldn't even call that work, the 45 minutes. I wouldn't call it work. I'm just having fun, okay? This is work. I got to go to a sporting event. I got to go to a game. Oh, okay. All right, I'll do it. Raise my hand.
I suppose.
We were just talking about the Ortiz situation.
Yes.
And the fact that he wasn't even the guy that was supposed to be shot. Not that makes anything any better or worse, but this is just such a bizarre story. It's such a strange story. Thank God that, I mean, can you imagine if, God forbid, if he had lost his life and he wasn't even the right guy that was supposed to?
Yeah, it's getting crazier. And it's, by the way, I'm going to, Rodizio's here. Love the place, love the food, fun time. Fun service, great people here.
Rodizio, not
Gio?
Rodizio.
No,
Rodizio.
When I put it in
Chusteria. What's the Portuguese word?
I don't know. I'm just giving you a hard
Brian,
time.
Siri told me Rodizio, not Digio.
Well,
Digio.
Siri, I've called Siri some really.
This is coming from Brian Shapiro, by the way, Ron, who calls Robert Mueller Robert Mueller.
Who also can't spell
Wednesday. Is he a mole
Wednesday.
or a mule? I don't know. Which one is he? He might be both a mole and a mule. But anyway. Anyway, what I do like about this is it, from what I understand, caller 720 gets a trip to the Dominican Republic tonight. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah.
Another promotion.
And you don't have to pay for anything in the minibar.
No, seriously,
in your
the
room.
minibar's
It's all
yours.
free.
Take it, drink it, down it. Courtesy of the Dominican Republic Tourist Board wants to get more people there.
So,
wants to
Ron,
make that happen.
do you buy that story?
Well, remember the initial story? There was some. I buy the initial.
I do
story
too. And,
that
and
there
the
was
one
a love
shot
triangle.
in the back, so he suffers. That made the most sense.
It took too long to come up with story B. Are we a week out?
We are
It
a
took
week
too
out.
long to come up with story B. I know I don't buy story B. Of being unmistaken identity. I guess they'll go with that to help tourism and to help David Ortiz, which is a Boston Red Sox.
It gets his name out of the conversation.
Yes,
Full
it does,
disclosure, I do want to say that the top celebrity that was supposed to be here today was John Wayne Bobbitt. You're his replacement. How does that make you feel? Is that all right?
I feel great that I've got everything together right now.
You do?
And in one place. Not two places.
That's a cheap shot.
That's
a Donald Trump cheap shot.
You don't know exactly what I was even meaning there.
That
Did
is
you
just
think?
a Donald
No,
Trump
everything in
cheap shot.
Yes, yes, it was.
Why would you give a guy like that a cheap shot who got his
just-
junk sliced off? How dare you?
I just said I'm happy to have everything in one place. I'll leave it at that.
How's your boy Trump doing, by the way?
Yeah, you're
I
stretching
don't know.
that
I
one
haven't talked
quite
to
a bit,
him.
Brian.
I haven't talked to him
You
this
guys don't
week.
talk on a regular
I haven't talked
basis?
to- My boy.
Hey, Donnie, how's it going?
He's our president. He's the duly elected president of the United States
He's
of
such
America.
a great role
He's our
model,
president.
by the way. He's
our
such a
president.
He's such a great role model
That's
to
all.
your
He's
kids,
the
to our
president.
kids.
He got elected.
No, he absolutely did. But he's such a wonderful human being.
I'll take
isn't
the
he?
Charles Barkley story. I don't look at NBA guys or presidents as being my role model. I look to people that I have a much higher respect for from the beginning, and that's religious leaders, my dad, people like that. Those are the people I look to as role models. Never politicians. I would never look to a politician as a role model. You will always be sadly disappointed.
So you don't think that the leader of the free world should be a role model?
I personally will never look to a politician as a role model.
But that's you personally. But in general, you don't think
It'd be
that's
nice. It'd be a bonus. It would be a bonus.
a bonus? That's it?
Oh, it'd be a bonus.
We're not talking about an athlete. We're not talking about Charles Barkley.
Oh no,
We're talking about the president of the United
It would be a bonus
States.
if athletes were great role models. It would be a bonus, but I don't look to them to be my role models. That's a sad person that does that.
So if you knew
No.
somebody, a war hero, that had lost his life, that served this country honorably, and I said to you, I want some credit for what I did for that man's funeral, what would you say to me?
Oh wait, who? Give me a name.
John McCain. Let's just throw that out there.
Oh no, we're
Yeah.
not going there again, are we?
I'm just curious.
How many times do we have to go over this?
How many times does he have to bring up his name?
A pissing match between two guys, and you have to enter yourself. Brian Shapiro, you've got to
I'm
be
not
involved in
entering
that
myself.
You're
The guy
entering
is
yourself.
dead.
You're
No, the
entering
guy is
yourself
dead.
into a pissing match
The guy is a
between two
war
politicians.
hero, and he's dead.
Between two politicians. You're entering yourself into
Donald
that
Trump's
pissing
not
match.
a politician. He's a scumbag.
Well, you're probably right that he wouldn't call himself a politician. You're probably right.
Do you think we should all bow down to Donald Trump and say thank you so much for what you did for John McCain's funeral? Because I'll do it if that's what you think. If that's what you think, I'll do it.
Yeah, that's exactly. You got it right. That's exactly what I said. Huh?
Let me tell you something. If your name
Please
was
don't.
listen, if your name was somewhere where I was working, for the record, I would never tell anyone in my administration to cover your name, Ron Futrell. I would leave it out there. I would.
I know what you're talking about, and he did that. Donald Trump did that.
He said that he actually gave
he did
them
not.
credit.
No, he did not. So
Oh, really?
He didn't do that.
He
But
said
I
he
mean,
understands. He actually defended people in his administration for doing that. Am I wrong, guys?
You said
No,
he
you're right.
you said he asked them to do it. You gave
No, I
the
didn't say
inference.
that.
You
I-
gave
I-
the
I
inference
did
that
not-
you gave the impression and the inference that he asked it and requested it to be done,
All right.
which he did not.
Let's
so
let
anyway,
our listener JD, not JD Sharp. We'll let one of our listeners, JD, chime in on this. Go ahead.
love the Golden Knights hat and the UNLV shirt, JD.
Did you ever mention or find out the fact that John McCain sent one of his chief of staff to England to get the dossier that Hillary
Completely
couldn't
academic. Let's just say
maybe that got him a little pissed off.
completely academic. Let's just say you're 100% right.
I am.
Okay. Well, let's just say
He
you
is
are.
right. He is
okay?
right. JD is
Let's
right.
just say you are. That still is not an excuse to go after someone's war service. You cannot deny that. Can you agree? Can we agree on that? There is never, under any circumstance,
Never.
the right to go after someone's war service as a POW, regardless of policy issues or personal issues, or if John McCain slept with Donald Trump's wife 30 times over, that still wouldn't give him the right to go after his war service. That is a disgrace to this country.
Let me say this as an Air Force veteran. I would never say what Trump said, no matter what
And
McCain.
that's my only point.
What McCain, what Trump said about McCain, but I would have gone after him privately and let him know how
I'm okay with that.
Let him know how a scumbag I thought he was.
Well, you know
Yeah,
what?
the problem is
You said
Trump,
the word
Trump,
private.
Trump uses these below-the-belt attacks instead of just questioning the policy, which is what he should do, and that's how he should approach his opponents. But he won the presidency by using those below-the-belt attacks.
If he wants to go ahead, Chris. You
The
chime in.
question I have about this is for Ron.
We're
So,
still
Ron,
we're still talking about
when
this
the-
6 months later.
No, we're talking about
about
Donald
this
Trump.
8 months
I
later.
just want to
6
know
months later.
when
Are
Donald
we
Trump
still
comes here for a
talking-
campaign rally, because he will be in Vegas. You know he will within the next 15 months or whatever. Yeah. So is Ron Futrell going to be out there sporting the "Make America Great Again" hat and fired up for the rally, tailgating with the folks? Because you know the folks will be out in force here in Vegas.
Repeat after me.
Ron,
Donald
will you
Trump
be
is
there?
a scumbag. Repeat after me.
I do-
Donald Trump is a scumbag. He is
No,
a
to
horrible
answer your
human
question,
being.
Chris, no, I don't have any plans to be unless I'm assigned to cover it, and then I'd cover it neutrally, but I'm not. I've not been to a Trump rally. I would not apologize for going to one if I did.
I was
would
saying,
not.
No, you don't have to
I'm just curious.
You're
if you were-
expecting me to apologize.
No, no.
But I would not, and I don't have any plans to. I don't know. I have better things to do with my time. I could watch them on TV. That's good enough.
Yeah.
You have a 16. Let's just say your daughter's 16 years old. Would you let your daughter hang out with Donald Trump or Don Jr.?
Yes.
Be honest. Be honest.
Yes.
You really would. You have no
Absolutely.
problem with that at all.
And I
What
would have
about
no
Roy
problem with
Moore? Would you let Roy Moore hang out with your 16-year-old
Absolutely. I have
daughter?
no problem with that. Yeah.
Now,
Did this
are
turn
you-
into a Bill Cosby and a Michael Jackson conversation? What is this?
I'm just giving
Where
Ron.
are you going with
I
this?
just like to get Ron fired up. You know what I'm doing.
That's me fired. That's me fired up right there. Okay.
It's not working. He's not.
not working.
Ron is not taking the bait, unfortunately.
Okay.
Well, listen. I always mean what I say. I think Donald Trump is a horrific human being. I really do. I do.
No, I know
think
you
he's
do.
a horrible
listen,
person.
Listen, you spend more time on personally with you spend more time personally attacking Donald Trump for personal things, while there are 80,000 homeless people in Southern California because of Democrat policies that have the potential to destroy that state.
You don't think tax breaks for the rich are a part of that?
While Democrats have done nothing to be able to solve the problem on the border, and Republicans haven't either, for
So
that
let me-
matter. But
so-
Democrats
Brian,
are
have
in
you
charge of
actually
Congress
seen?
right now.
Have you
We've
seen
got
Skid Row, Brian?
Yes, I have.
We've got an opioid crisis that is killing our country right now, and you spend I don't know what percentage, at least when I'm on air, you spend 70% of the show talking about pissing matches
Well, let's
with
talk
Donald
about
Trump.
policy.
Are you kidding
okay,
me?
so we'll
Come on,
talk about policy now. Top 1% getting tax breaks. CEOs of
Everybody
Fortune.
got tax breaks.
Hold on.
You got a tax break. I got a
CEOs
tax break. Like it's like we're
CEOs of
Oprah
Fortune-
giving away G6s. You get a tax break.
You're
you get a
okay.
tax break. You
Are
get a
you
tax- I get
okay
a
with
tax
tax breaks for the CEOs of these Fortune 500 companies? You think that actually helps the economy? You think that helps middle class people?
It has the potential to, but it has the potential to. Absolutely, it has the potential to put more money into the. I like tax breaks for all Americans. How about that? I'm in favor of that. And
How
you
about
got,
bigger?
And
how
you
about-
got a tax
how
break,
about
and I
bigger-
got a tax
how about
break.
bigger?
Thank you.
How about bigger tax breaks for people that are struggling to put food on the table?
Here's the best tax break of all. The economy is rocking and rolling right now for all sectors of the economy. Now, I know you don't like that. You're not happy
Didn't
that
say
the economy is working right
you're
now.
putting words in my mouth. I didn't say I don't like it, but
I saw your
that is
expression,
also
like,
you never gave Obama any credit for the economy. When
It grew at 1%. Average over his 8 years grew at 1%. Okay, that's
you never gave him any credit though for the economy. Look at
it
the
grew at 1%.
Look at
It's
what he
growing
took
at
over.
better than 3% now under Trump.
But look at what
1%. He said that was the new normal. By the way, he said that's all about.
Were you happy with what George W. Bush did in his second term and how he absolutely destroyed the economy?
Second term. Let me think. You know what destroyed that economy? I've said it before, and I will say it again.
Dick Cheney.
It's Democrats largely go back to the administration of Bill Clinton that changed the banking rules that rewarded banks for giving no interest.
Chris, help me out here.
That gave,
I don't use any question that Wall Street
No.
played a huge role in it, too.
it was government that changed the rules. Wall Street did not do this on their own. Government changed the rules to said you can buy houses with no docs, no interest, low interest.
Investment banking that trickle down into real estate.
They changed the rules, and under the guise of affordable housing, under the guise of let's let everybody get a house, they changed the banking rules, and they encouraged banks to do it by motivating them to do it, by giving them incentives to do so. Government did this, and the banks reacted. I get how all the TV shows and the movies now put it solely upon the banks, but government changed those rules. The banks did not change those rules. They could not change those rules. government, largely led by Democrats, changed those rules in the name of affordable housing, created the bubble that caused the burst that happened in 2008. Period.
Ron,
That's
what
why
do
it
what do I have
That's
to
how
do?
it happened. That's exactly why it happened.
What do I have to do to get you to dress up as Barack Obama for Halloween? What would it take? Be honest. Be honest. No,
Actually,
or Hillary
Clinton is
Yeah.
the one we want to see.
What would it take for you to dress up in a skirt or one of her uniforms that she wears? What do you call those things? Business.
I haven't dressed up for Halloween since
since
I was in third grade.
Are we going to start talking about Dennis Rodman now, too?
I haven't dressed up for Halloween since I was in third grade when I wore a clown suit that my
Is that
mother
true?
made me.
You haven't dressed up?
No, I did wear. Okay, I wore.
I was a
cowboy hat.
last
Does that
Halloween. I
count?
was a chick magnet. I wore little chickens all over my
Yeah, you were
shirt.
that?
Yeah, I was a
Wait a
chick
minute, Ron.
magnet.
So even back when you were in your late 20s, early 30s, 40s, you didn't go to any theme
Halloween
parties?
should not be an adult holiday. It's asinine that Halloween has become an adult holiday. It's a kid's holiday.
He sounds like Larry David from Curb Your Enthusiasm. There's an episode where
absolutely
a couple of
stupid.
18-year-old kids knock on the door, and then he goes, "You're too old for free candy." "Oh, I'm an adult. I'm just going to knock on doors. Free candy." You are right. There's got to be a line.
Yes,
There's a line there.
It
Yeah.
should not be an adult holiday.
But dressing up is kind of fun. It is.
Okay, I wore a cowboy hat. I'm not a cowboy.
I could
wore a
picture you
cowboy
being
hat.
a cowboy.
And I
could
wore a
picture that.
Thunder jersey one time with my name on the back.
You are so
does that
Texas.
count
You
as-
are
No, I'm
Republican through and through.
I'm SoCal. I'm not Texas. I ain't Texas. My dad's Texas. I'm not
I
Texas.
can picture
Ron,
Ron on
I think
a
that
ranch.
counts as a costume, by the way.
Does
You're
that count
sporting
as
a Thunder
costume?
jersey? Yeah.
A Thunder jersey. I
Like
have
a Manny Legacy goaltender jersey?
That is definitely a costume. There's
Yeah.
no question
With
about
a
it. So you
cowboy
didn't
hat.
answer my question. How much money would I have to offer you to dress up as Hillary Clinton for Halloween?
I don't dress up for Halloween.
There's no chance.
There's no amount that you
All
have.
right. So what other stories? I know that you covered this new UFC facility.
Love that facility out
Yeah.
there.
What's that like?
It's about a 1,500 seat facility called the Apex. So if you're here in Las Vegas and you're going on, let's say you're going west on 215 on the right side, so the north side of 215, after Jones and before Rainbow, hope I said that slow enough, is the UFC facilities, and right next to that is called the Apex now. They bought an old science building that was next to them, and they refurbished it to make it into a studio for them to hold fights. They're going to have concerts. They're going to have comedy shows. Oh, and eventually Dana White told me they're going to have a hotel there. Now think about this for a second. They're going to put a hotel on that complex. They own the land between the two buildings. So as you look at those two buildings, there's a strip of land between it. They own it, and they're going to put a hotel there eventually. So it'll be. I asked him. I joked. I said, "So when are we going to have Dana White's Bar and Grill here?" And he laughed and says, "Oh, we got plans for a hotel." I said, "Then we'll have Dana White's Bar and
Well,
Grill."
listen,
inside
I
there. And he
say
smiled.
make the UFC great again. That's what I say, and I think Dana White can do it. I really do. Just put on that MAGA hat.
New ownership. They got. They're going through a transition, but they're going
That's
into
right.
boxing more and more and more. They want to do boxing. They got this new deal with ESPN, which I find fascinating. That was another question I asked Dana. Remember, they didn't get along with ESPN for a long time. ESPN went after the UFC horribly with some of them. Now, how you say horribly? I don't mean that, but they went after them aggressively. For the salaries they paid and that sort of stuff, because they were the politics of that. They were with Fox, so ESPN went after them. Now everybody loves ESPN. They're no longer with Fox; they're with ESPN, and so.
Yeah.
Life is good for them and ESPN, and we'll see where they take it.
Well, life is good, Ron. We do have our differences when it comes to politics. I don't think I think I'd be lying if I didn't say that. But I've known you for a long time. You're a good friend. You're very, very good at what you do.
Likewise, good
and
food here,
glad
too.
You're at Channel 8. Thank you so much for being here and showing up. Quickly, how can people follow you on social media?
I'm at Ron Futrell,
That sounds pretty simple.
RONFUTRL.
All right, I'll
Find
see
me
it-
on that thing called Twitter.
I'll see if-
Tweeter,
Hashtag
Twitter.
8NN, right?
I'll
Capital
see if
NN.
I'll see if OJ will follow you. I'll give him a call. I'll see if he could follow you.
Yes.
Did you hear about that new OJ Simpson website?
I heard about
I don't
him
wanna-
being on
No,
Twitter,
no,
and I
no,
went
no, no,
on
no.
it.
The new
I don't-
website.
I
It's
haven't
called
seen the website, no.
www.slash.escape.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I
that was a
don't
horrible.
I
want-
go to his Twitter. I go to his Twitter page just to see the comments
horrible
and the jokes
joke. I'm
made
sorry.
about
I
him.
do not want OJ following me. I have a blonde wife, and my name is Ron. Please,
Well, Ron,
OJ,
thanks for
don't
being
follow
here.
me.
Everybody that decided to show up tonight, our listeners, our loyal listeners, everybody, thank you so much. Chris, JD, Rodizio was fantastic. What a great host. We had a nice turnout. We'll love to do it again sometime. Thanks, everybody. We will be back tomorrow in studio, same time, same place. The legend himself, Ken Thompson, coming up next. Thanks for joining us on the Vegas Take, everybody. Have a fantastic night.